What's going on, y'all? It's the Conscious One coming at you. I decided to make another video since I got a little time. I just want to talk about this whole incel thing. You know, it's funny how they come up with these words out of nowhere. I don't know when the word incel came out, but I think I first heard about it maybe 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago tops. I'm like, well, what is an incel? I think it's I'm still confused about what an incel is. It's a guy who's not dealing with women, basically. And I just want to make this little audio. You know, folks, guys and girls, but I'm definitely talking to the guys. You want to be careful with these intellectuals on YouTube because they are part of like the mad scientists, and they kind of look at human beings like they on a petri dish, and so they run these experiments with Tinder and all these dating stuff. Let's just put this in perspective. We're on one big large petri dish, and you have these mad scientists that are doing experiments on us. Social experiments, all kinds of experiments, biological experiments, social experiments. And so a lot of this information on YouTube, even though it sounds right and exact and it makes your heart flutter, again, you want to be careful with these wicked intellectuals. Just because somebody is sounding smart and all this doesn't mean that they're really giving you accurate information. The whole thing about the incel that I don't like is it creates this victimization of the man. They're catering to the emotional basket cases, basically. Because what is really an incel? Because you have a man that's he's either a virgin or he's had sex before. There's really no in between. I can pretty much say most of the guys that I know that are not having sex, they're not having sex because they can't get a woman. They're not having sex because they don't want to get no woman. That's what they're not telling you. They're not telling the flip side that a lot of guys simply just don't want to deal with no women. They watched their fathers and their grandfathers get screwed over by the system, and it kind of went into the DNA, and these children were born saying, screw the opposite sex. I'm not dealing with it, because if I deal with the opposite sex, it's another control mechanism to control me. I'm already controlled enough. And keep in mind, guys, I'm not really talking about my personal life. I'm just being objective about the situation. If you want me to talk about my personal life, I've always been the type of dude. Okay, I meet a woman, I date her, then I'm not dating her for whatever reason. And then I go 2 years, I'm not doing nothing with no female, and then I might find another female to date, so forth and so on. See, what is an incel exactly? Because again, these wicked intellectuals are trying to manipulate these emotional basket cases out here. But I think it's a lot of deception in that, because what they're not telling you is that most of these guys, these so-called incels, are not dealing with women simply because they don't want to deal with no women. Okay? I think the woman is the one who should be worried about incels, not the incel who, you know, when they talk about the incel, you immediately think of a man, right? So already right there, you know, it's some kind of mind control going on, because you say the word incel, you immediately think man. You think man who lives in mother's basement, who's playing video games, right? You don't think incel to be a woman. What about incel? What about woman? A woman being an incel? You see where I'm going with this? The word incel does not have a gender attached to it, but why are they always trying to victimize the man? This is what I'm saying. These wicked intellectuals, they are working for the Matrix. Do not be fooled. Okay, this system is breaking down, and they're trying to figure out all kind of ways to keep it going, basically. And they use these wicked intellectuals to come on YouTube that may or may not be getting all these views and comments that may or may not be politically really correct. You see what I'm saying? As far as women going to the top, whatever, 10%, 1% of men, good for them. Because we know what happened to those women if they get with those kind of chads, right? They're going to have to share that chad with a bunch of Stacy. So they're not going to be happy. They try to make it sound like that these women who go to these top 1% guys are going to be happy. Listen, What I know about women, it don't matter what you have, a woman is going to eventually find something to complain about. She is going to find something to be unhappy about in a relationship. There is nothing you can do. It's not, I don't care how many cars you have, money, this or that, a woman will not be satisfied. Just look at the life of the celebrities, right? It's right in your face. It don't matter how much money a man got. You see? Now, the advice that I could give guys who are trying to hook up with women is to stop being so goddamn predictable. Learn how to talk, learn how to walk, learn how to dress. And again, stop being so predictable. In order to keep a woman, I think that you have to be unpredictable. Again, women are, they like a crazy motherfucker. They like a motherfucker. Yeah, they want you to be, together. But then it's this crazy side that they're attracted to too. They want you to be a little crazy. They want both. You got to give them both. You got to give them the thug and you got to give them the intellectual. They don't just want the fucking intellectual with all the money. That's not what they're looking for either. You got to be unpredictable. Don't give them all at once. Give them a little bit here, give them a little bit there. Don't ever let them figure you out. Because as soon as they figure you out, the energy's done. You understand? The energy's gone. Once that energy's gone, forget about it. And don't sleep in the same bed with that woman if you plan to keep her around for a long time. Again, this whole sleeping in the bed thing, you want to know where it really comes from? And I'm not trying to disrespect any of my European people out there, but the whole idea of women and men sleeping in the same bed, actually, from what I know, came from the people who lived in the caves, who used to sleep together to keep warm, not because they loved each other. But somehow people have adopted this European nature that they must be sleeping in the bed together. Now, if you go back to the 1950 TV shows, they had women and men sleeping in separate beds. Just go back to the old I Love Lucy shows. They didn't start having men and women sleep in the same bed until, I don't even know, maybe the late 60s. And then when it came out, it was seen as taboo. Oh my God, they're showing men and women sleeping in the same bed together. Oh my God. You see what I'm saying about us being on a petri dish and they are running social experiments on us, and why you cannot fall prey to these wicked intellectuals? You see? So when I put out videos, it's kind of funny because I know there's people out there, there's viewers out there who thinking that I may or may not be thinking a certain way based on the videos that I put out. And I have to remind you that watch my videos, don't try to associate me with any videos that I, put out. You don't know what I'm thinking. I put them out just to run my own little experiments on what people are thinking, to believe it or believe it or not. But again, trust me, most of these guys that are so-called incels that just stop dealing with women, they are happy. They see the way society is. They say, I'm perfectly happy locking myself up in a room, not having anything to do with humans, and not having anything to do with dating women. I can just sit in this room as long as I can just get enough money to pay my bills, play video games, and buy a new iPhone every few months. I am totally happy. That's what I think is really going on. And who should really be scared right now is the women, not the men. The men don't have nothing. It's the women that got something to worry about, because if men take care of themselves, exercise, stay healthy, a man can be looking good all the way up into his late 50s, early 60s. Women are the ones whose clock is ticking right around the time they hit 30. They better start looking for a man, or else ain't no man gonna be checking for them like that. Their clock, it ends very fast. They have a small window to have a man be looking at them and chasing them down. That window closes very fast. A man's window is open for a long time if he chooses to take care of himself. You see? That's how I see this situation. So I'm not gonna stay long on this, guys. I just want to talk about be careful of these wicked intellectuals, because they being used by the Matrix. And again, this is not something to try to bash women, but really women are the ones who really should be worrying about whether men are not dealing with them or not, based on their finances or whatever is based on. Women are the ones who got something to worry about, because it ain't enough Chads out here, okay? And it ain't enough nobody out here. And with all this stuff that's going on in the world now, trust me, there are a lot of guys who say, you know what, I think this whole incel thing, is actually better than being, especially what's going on now. Because you deal with a woman, next thing you know, you're dealing with children. And if you're dealing with children, next thing you know, you're dealing with the hospital. If you're dealing with hospital, next thing you know, you're dealing with doctors. If you're dealing with doctors, next thing you know, you're dealing with jabs. If you're dealing with jabs, next thing you know, somebody may be knocking on your door trying to lock you up. All because go back to the beginning, somebody said you was an incel and you just went out there and had to get one of these female flying monkeys. Be careful, folks. Don't fall for the deceptions. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Y'all take care out there, and peace.